To the flowers that vanished by dawn, where walls within has open skin, and dread had a voice before I had one. Father came in with a bottle and weather, mud on his boots, a coffin in his stare. Every word from his mouth rang metallic, every step through the hall spoiled the air.
Mother was drowning in rooms
Of her own, split by a sickness too shapeless to name, and all of the ruin alive in her body broke over her children in sparks and shame. Plates turned preacher, doors turned omen, night became a cold where no child won. My brothers wore silence like hammered chains, my sisters wore shaking like second skin. I watched their faces lose the shape of childhood, watch small hands fail at pretending they were still.
and deep in the half-built dark of my ribs,
Something wordless rose and hardened into will.
so I bit through terror,
Bit through shame, held every cry like a fire with no flame. If this house was a grave, then I would remain with my teeth in the black till I outlived the pain.
house of clenched teeth,
I was raised in your violence and
house of
smoke,
clenched teeth.
where a child learned to shoulder what adults had broke.
I stood in the doorway,
Small but already old,
trying to keep back the panic.
from the hearts I refuse to let fold.
House of clenched teeth.
Fed us fear like daily bread, but I swore by the shaking in my blood
No one I love
would be buried in this dread. Double puff is this one.
Why am I here? Why, what the fuck?
There were mornings with bruises hidden in daylight, evening prayers through splinters of glass, laughter outside like a foreign religion belonging to children we never could match.
I learned how to read the storm in footsteps, how to gather the little ones into one room, how to turn my own body into a barricade when the whole house smelled of an opening wound.
I hated the man and his liquor made God, hated the sickness devouring her mind. But deeper than hatred there lived a decision, I would not leave the weakest behind.
So I swallowed my childhood and sharpened my heartbeat, pressed every panic down into something still.
Not because I was fearless,
Not because I was holy,
but because somebody there had to become a will.
I carried their names like nails through bone, telling myself,
You will not let them go.
if this house wants our souls, it can choke on mine first.
I will stand in the doorway till the terror is cursed. What does it carve in a boy when home is the mouth of a war? When the hands meant to shelter become what he trembles for? It made me older than morning,
Colder than rain on the stairs,
yet left one thing alive inside me that would not abandon the broken there.
so if I become anything beyond this ash, this ache, this grave,
Let it be the hand that reaches sooner.
let it be the ending of houses built from
Clenched teeth. No more your breath,
but I did not survive that horror.
to pass it on as death. I endured,
So someone smaller than me could sleep.
someone take me away from this monster place, please. I came in wearing poverty like a second name. Every shirt too old, every silence easy to blame. They They knew the street I came from before I spoke a word. Knew the kind of home that teaches children not to be hurt. Still I learned the books like prayer, learned the page like fire. Built my worth from perfect scores and a desperate shaking hunger. For one brief hour I thought the light might choose me too, but children smell the weak and they hate what rises through. So when my grades climbed higher than the mouths that laughed at me, their smiles turned sharp, their little jokes grew teeth. Hands in the hallway, whispers under breath, traps set in the corners like rehearsals for an act. They touched my bag, my chair, my name, my skin, turned every lesson into a sport I could not win. And when I spoke, the teachers looked away as if cruelty only counted when the crew were not their own. I learned another law there. If enough voices laugh, the truth gets buried under noise, and the victim wears the mark. So every note, every warning, every stain was pinned on me, while the room kept calling it childhood, and the adults called it peace. School of a nightmare. I ran to you to escape the dark. School of a nightmare. And found another blade aimed at my heart. I came there hungry, I came there bright, and they punished me for climbing out of the pit they thought was mine. School of a nightmare. You taught me what the smiling do. Some houses break the body, some classrooms finish what they start in you. It built by inches, by pranks, by ritual shame. By every day they found a new way to make me small again, until the final theater, the perfect public fall, when they bound me to the desk and stole the last of what was mine. Not just my pride, not just my place. They tried to strip the human from my face, and all around me stood a world that should have stepped between. But silence is a crowd too, and it can be just as mean. That day I stopped returning to those halls to prove he can't survive where cruelty wears a uniform. I left the building, but I kept the wound, carried it like iron through every room. And somewhere under all that ash and disgrace, a harder vow took shape. Drive a boy from a classroom, you can nail his shame into the air. You can make a whole room watch and teach him no one will care. But there are humiliations so complete they stop being endings. They become a blade, a road, a reason not to die where others left you. Look at me now, look what you made. A child with his dignity dragged through the blaze. Look at me now, I did not stay. I took your shame and turned it into rage. No more death, no more lies, no more adults with civilized eyes. You marked me there, but I learned this too. Leaving is not losing. When the place was built to bury you. School of a nightmare. You were the refuge that betrayed. School of a nightmare. A chapel where the innocent were played. I came there dreaming, I left there scarred, but I did not hand you my future just because you searching for a way to begin again. So let them keep the desks, the bell,
walls, the polished masks I carry, something they could not destroy. The will to find another path. They taught me what people become when no one stops the cruel. And I learned this: I may leave a place in pieces, but I do not belong to the place that broke me.
took us from the house of broken weather, from fists in walls and names turned into knives. And though the night still clung to every shoulder, for once the dark did not feel fully alive. The road was long and none of us were speaking, just children wrapped in bruises no one saw, watching the old world shrink behind the window, like something God had finally let us lose. No one was smiling when the gate stood open. No holy light came down to bless the change. Just iron beds, pale halls, and borrowed silence. A cleaner kind of sorrow, still strange. But even there, beneath the smell of strangers, beneath the rules and shoes beside the door, there was a mercy hidden in the stillness. No boots at midnight crossing to our room. No bottled breath, no plates about to shatter. No mother drowning loud enough to spread. Only the ache of being left unwanted in a house where orphan hours went to bed. So I learned the shape of a quieter pain, how safety can arrive still wearing rain, how rescue can bleed, how mercy can sting, how hope can be small and still be everything. A room without a lullaby, a bed without a mother's hand, a door that closed against the past but never promised where we'd land. A room without a lullaby, no comfort song, no cradle light, yet softer than the house we fled, less cruel than what we left that night. It was not love, not peace, not home as children dream it to be, but it was one thin candle and the wreckage left in me. We learned the clocks, the meal lines, and the praying, the folded blankets, names on secondhand shelves. Learned how to keep our memories in pockets and not let homesick hunger eat us whole. Some children cried only after lights were taken. Some stared so still they looked already gone. Some held their toys the way the drowning do would, as if one small thing could keep the dark from winning. And I, who came there older than my years were, still listened through the walls before I slept, still counted breaths, still waited for the thunder, still wore the house I left inside my chest. But slowly, like frost giving way at morning, something uncoiled beneath the hurt and shame. The thought that maybe surviving was not betrayal, maybe leaving hell did not erase my name. What is a child to call salvation when it comes with strangers' keys, when the arms are absent but the violence is gone, when comfort does not hold you, only leaves you unhurt? Maybe it is not healing, maybe it is only space for the wound to breathe without being struck again. And maybe that is where hope starts, not as a song, not as a miracle, but as one unbroken night in a room without a lullaby. A room without a lullaby, and still I
someone climbing stairs, a room without a lullaby, no mother's hymn, no father's grace. Yet in that loveless borrowed calm, I saw the first crack in fate. Not joy, not home, not innocence returned to me, but a small surviving ember, refusing not to be. So if you ask me where hope found us, it was not in warmth, it was not in song, it was in a bed that did not shake, in a night that did not break, in a room that offered nothing but the absence of the wrong. And for children raised on terror, that was enough to keep breathing on.
The windows changed, and so did I. Not all at once, but enough for light to finally find me. I came from rooms that only taught me trembling, from nights that fed on every breath I drew. But distance has a strange and tender language. It does not heal at once, it simply gives the wound more room. And in that room I started learning daylight, the quiet shape of mornings without fear, the way a life can open inch by inch when no one stands above it with a fist. The trials were not gone, only changed their clothing. There were still hard days, still hunger, still the climb, still the work of building meaning from the leftover parts of me. But somewhere in that struggle, something answered back with color, and for the first time effort did not feel like punishment. It felt like becoming. So I ran for the better version, not because the pain was gone, but because the road ahead had finally stopped looking like a grave. And every small victory placed a little gold inside my chest, till even my old sadness had to make room for breath. Where the wounds grow quiet, I began to hear my name, without the weight of ruin in it, without the taste of blame. Where the wounds grow quiet, even broken branches bloom, and the life I thought had missed me started entering the room. Not as thunder, not as fate, but as a softness I could finally face. Where the wounds grow quiet, I learned that light can arrive late and still be grace. The world grew wider than survival, trees looked greener than they had before. Even the wind seemed full of kindness, like it had waited years to touch this skin without a bruise. I kept climbing, kept becoming sharper, not out of terror now, but out of fire, the kind that does not burn a soul to ash, but warms it from the inside toward a form. And then one day, among the ordinary miracle of light on halls and passing hours, I saw her, brown hair holding the afternoon like silk, green eyes with that impossible kind of calm that makes the whole world step back for a second. I do not know what changed first, the air, the sound, or my pulse. Only that beauty had suddenly taken human shape and looked my way. I
had no fear in many forms, but never this bright and shaking mercy, this unbearable wish to stay inside one moment just a little longer than the heart can bear. Where the wounds grow quiet, love appear without a warning sign, and green eyes lit like summer glass, in hair the dust makes shine. Where the wounds grow quiet, I forgot my borrowed pain, as if every winter in me had been waiting for her name. Not to save me, not complete me, but to show me what beauty does. It touches what survived the dark and teaches it to trust. I had spent so long becoming harder, I forgot the soul could open too. Forgot that healing is not only iron, not only effort, not only proof. Sometimes it is one look that does not ask you to explain your scars. Sometimes it is one quiet presence, turning all the noise in you to stars. If darkness was the language of my childhood, then maybe this was the answer. It was, oh, not revenge, not even victory, but the sudden right to call a beautiful thing close. Where the wounds grow quiet, I became more than what had bled, more than all the rooms behind me, more than all the names they said. Where the wounds grow quiet, a new world touched my face, and in the green of her bright eyes I saw the gentlest kind of grace. I had fought so long to be unbroken, I never knew this too was true, that after all the dark is lived through, the heart can still bloom. So if you ask me when it happened, when life stopped being only pain, it was not all at once, it wasn't striving, it wasn't staying, it wasn't learning not to close. And then it was her. Brown hair, green eyes, and the strange, beautiful terror of hope becoming visible. I learned too early what blood can become, so when beauty reached for me, I closed like a wound. I saw what love could turn into when dragged through rotten family rain. Saw how a name can curdle in the mouth, how tenderness can be taught to carry pain. So when the world began to open, when light moved gently through my skin, I felt no peace, I felt a warning. If I let it in, I let the old world in. Because I know the house I came from, I know the sickness and the threat, I know the blood remembers horrors long after all the screaming's dead. And I could not bear the thought of anyone I loved inheriting that fire. So I sealed my chest with silence and called the lock a form of mercy. I told myself,
be still,
don't
be difficult to enter. If the heart is left unopened, nothing pure can die there.
Heart of 1,000 needles,
Sewn shut beneath the spotless skin.
heart of 1,000
A
needles.
crown of ice driven inward from within. I did not turn cold because I hated love. I turned cold because I knew its cost.
And if I had to lose myself to keep the innocent untouched,
Then let me become the winter before they ever feel my frost. So I began to sharpen inward, cutting softness down to skill, turning every trembling impulse into focus, nerve and will. The world called it discipline, the mirrors called it strength, but beneath that polished stillness, something stranger learned to breathe. I moved cleaner, faster, higher, rose the fracture into form, built a mind of perfect angles, a face untouched by panic storm. I could read a room like weakness, read a soul before it spoke, and every wound I never answered turned into a blade of poise. Not madness in the common language, not chaos, not collapse, not flame. Something lovelier and crueler, a grace so sharp it had no name. I was becoming useful, dazzling, untouchable in what I knew. But every gift was fed by absence, every height by something I refused. And still at night I heard it there, that buried child beneath the steel, begging me not to vanish inside the shape I'd learned to wear.
heart of 1,000 needles,
Sun shut beneath the spotless skin.
heart of 1,000 needles.
Cathedral of precision built on grief within. I did not become distant because I did not care. I became distant because I cared too far. And when the world called me brilliant, what it really meant was this: I had learned to turn my ruin into something hard to kiss. What is a heart if not a door? And what if every hand before came carrying disease or shame, or ruin with my family name? What is protection when taken too far? At what point does mercy become another scar? I wanted no one near me to drown the way I did, so I built a holy distance and buried the child beneath it. But distance grows its own sickness, cold creates a love its own. And after years of calling silence wisdom, you wake to find you've made a throne out of your own unfeeling, out of elegance, out of fear, out of the 1,000 little needles you called control, while disappearing there. Needle by needle, nerve by nerve, I made myself impossible to hurt. Lock it down, cut it clean, burn out every tender thing unseen. Higher, colder, perfect the art,
So no one can enter.
Q's own heart. I did this to save them.
Did this to survive.
What if the thing I sealed away was the only thing
Heart of
alive?
1,000 needles,
Now I feel the points beneath the
heart
glow.
of 1,000 needles.
The price of becoming too sharp to hold. I climbed through fear.
Into mastery,
I climbed through love.
into distance.
And all the beauty I created there still bleeds from its restraint. I am not empty, I am oversealed, a field of silver wounds that never learned to heal.
So if I stand magnificent, do not mistake me for whole. Some people do not lose their hearts, they preserve them in pain, until the pulse grows cold and mine still beats, but far away, behind 1,000 shining points, beautiful, untouched, and too afraid to be held. I did not come here to survive the day.
I came to become the Before the sun had learned my outline, I was already breaking skin on steel, breathing frost through bloodshot mornings, teaching bone what iron has to feel. Every run a trial by concrete, every drill a language made of pain. Every order hit the body like a verdict, every failure came back twice again. I pushed my lungs until they tasted copper, pushed my hands until they forgot to shake, pushed my name through mud, through weight, through pressure, till the weaker shape in me began to break. There were men who came here wanting glory, came here wanting medals, rank or flame. I came here because somewhere people were burning and I could not bear to stay the same.
So I gave my sleep to discipline,
Gave my comfort to the grind,
let the madness pace beside me
as I sharpened heart and mind. If the body is a gate, then break it, build it, forge it through. I will become the one who enters where the ordinary never dare. Built for the alarm, for the red light and the smoke. Built for the collapse, for the moment weaker spirits choke. I train through ruin, through the fracture, through the screaming in my veins,
because somewhere in the distance
someone's life would need these pains. Built for the alarm,
not to shine,
but to remain, to walk into the breaking world and drag a heartbeat back again. Every staircase became a mountain, every hallway turned to war. Every mask, every carry, every impact asked me what I still had left for more. Saw my vision flicker silver, felt the dark come up behind my eyes, heard my pulse go rapid in the silence. Still I rose before the count could die. There were nights the training crossed to madness, where the room bends sideways with fatigue, where the mind begins to split its language and the soul goes numb just to compete. Then I see the shape of why I stayed there, a hand in rubble, breath under dust, a child pulled from the edge of ending, a stranger placing terror into trust. That was what held me human, not the pride, not being best, but the thought that one day someone would be alive because I bled through this.
so let the sirens haunt me,
Let the drills unmake my frame. I will crawl through every threshold till I'm worthy of the flame. Built for the alarm, for the red light and the smoke. Built for the collapse, for the hour when the broken world goes to know. I train through pressure, through the sickness, through the madness in my head. Because heroes are not born in comfort, they are hammered out instead. Built for the alarm, for the cold, no one can fail to walk where terror eats the air, and still refuse to break. What do you call a life spent outrunning your own limit? What do you call a heart that keeps choosing fire on purpose? I call it devotion, I call it debt, I call it the vow that rose from everything I survived yet. Because I know what helpless looks like, I know the sound of no one coming, I know what it is to wait inside disaster while the walls keep humming. So if I have
purpose.
Just don't let the purpose be untrue. Again, till the body turns to wire. Again, drag a soul through higher. Fall right, bleed in the light. Earn the right to enter the night. Slay, wait on the spine.
I am not leaving this week or alive.
Break me,
Shape me.
I know what I came for.
If madness is the doorway, then I will become more.
Built for the alarm. Built for the alarm. Built for the alarm. Built for the alarm.
Now the siren lives in me.
Built for the collapse.
For the edge of human frailty.
I cross through torment, through oppression to the black
Inside my breath, when the world begins to burn,
I can walk through it.
and answer death.
Built for the alarm.
Not for legend, not for fame, but to be the steady hand inside another person's flame. And if this training drives me mad, then let the madness still be true. I would rather lose my peace than fail the life I'm reaching to. So make me strong enough to enter where the weak collapse. Make me cold enough to move before the panic spreads.
Make me hero.
No one enters here alive as who they will be.
They lined us up beneath fluorescent judgment. Names turned numbers, bodies stripped to prove. Every breath inspected, every weakness hunted, every dream dragged naked to the truth. Run till the lungs spit iron on the pavement. Climb till the tendons scream against the rope. Carry the dead weight, crawl through flooded darkness. Learn what survives when the body loses hope. There were men who broke without a sound. There were men who cursed and vanished in the rain. Men who looked like steel before the whistle. Then came a path beneath invisible strain. Because this was never built for glory, never made for boys who like the myth. This was where they flayed you down to instinct, just to see what kind of nerve you'd live with. No sleep, no mercy, no room to come undone. They kill the mass, they kill the weakness. They keep what still can run, and every test says the same thing: bleed clean or disappear. If you want to stand inside this fire, then become what fear fears. Selection by fire. They forced us in the mouth of strain. Selection by fire, where only the ruin learn to reign. I ran through fracture, through blackout, through the animal in my chest. Because to wear that mark of rescue,
You must first survive the test.
selection by fire, not a badge, a living scar, a vow hammered into muscle, till you forget who you were. And getting in was just the first execution, because life inside the unit fed on more. Every shift a blade held at the rib cage, every call a war kick through the door. Fear on the spine, weight cutting through the shoulders, eyes half dead but trained enough to read which room will burn, which stair will fall beneath you. you. Which second means the difference if they bring. We learn the cost of being useful fast there. Her birthday's missed sleep, buried under steel. Hands that shook only after all was over. Faces trained to lock away what they feel. You do not stay human here by accident. You fight for it between the screams and glass. And if your mind is slow and fatal heartbeat, someone else becomes a name from your collapse. So we sharpen, we harden, we carry what won't bend. We joke like ghosts, we bleed in silence, then suit up once again. Because this life devours the ordinary, choose the weak and leave no trace. If you stand here long enough, you learn to wear exhaustion like a face. Selection by fire, they force us in the mouth of stress. Selection by fire, where only the sleepers learn to stay. I cross through torment, through madness, through the black behind my eyes, because the ones who reach the fallen must already have survived. Selection by fire, not a dream, but shit stop. A crowd of discipline and damage, burned into what you are. What is left of a man after they grind him down to function? What is left of a heart after it learns to beat on command? Maybe not peace, maybe not innocence, maybe only purpose sharp enough to outlive pain, and still that purpose held me upright. Not the right, not the myth, what the thought that somewhere terror waits and I can walk into it instead of letting it have them. Run, climb, carry the weight, breathe through the blood if you want your place. Drop, rise, do it again, pain is the price of becoming the head. No rest, no out, no easy way through. Break every lie and what's left is true. Steel, nerve, heart on the wire. You do not enter this life. You are selected by fire. Selection by fire. Now the siren lives in bones. Selection by fire. Now the edge itself feels whole. I gave my youth, I sleep my softness through the flame. So when disaster tears the night apart, I can answer in its name. Selection by fire. This is the light beneath the sky. To be the one who keeps on standing where the broken things all are. So if I look like iron now, know what the furnace had to take. No one walks into this brotherhood hall, no one leaves the same. But some of us still choose it, even knowing what it does, because somewhere someone is waiting for a stranger who can survive enough to come. We went in alive. He did not come out. The walls were breathing smoke and splinters. The stairwell shook beneath the blast. Red light broke over broken helmets, and every second moved too fast. He was ahead of me by half a heartbeat. One hand already through the flame. I heard him call my name through static. The terror came and emptied mine. Not from the fire, not from the ruin, but from that old black chamber in my chest. The one that opens when death looks back at you.
All your training was a mess.
He turned to move, I turned to freezing. The room became a grave
Inside my head, and in that breath, that single damn breath,
my brother walked where I should have led.
I saw a shadow disappear. I heard the impact through the wall, and every vow I built from iron split like glass inside the car. He trusted me
To move beside him,
I gave him soul.
I gave him fear.
The man I left in fire, he died where I was meant to stand. The man I left in fire, he reached for life and found my empty hands. I wore the gear, I wore the title, I wore the oath across my skin.
But when the moment
Came to save him, cowardice was what I gave him. The man I left in fire, now his last breath lives in my head.
and every siren after that
Sounds like
the name of the dead.
they pulled him out too late for mercy. Ash in his teeth, blood in the mask, and all around us orders thundered like heaven had become a task. I could not touch the air around him, I could not meet the eyes of man, who knew without a word between us what fear had done and where I'd been.
That night the barracks turned infernal. No sleep, no talk, no shutting down.
His locker stood there like a verdict, his laughter still was in the room.
I scrubbed my hands until they reddened, as if the guilt were something
Cleanable,
But some stains do not sit on skin. They move into the bone and stay operational.
he had a mother, he had a name, he had a life beyond the flame. He had a future I stood beside and let me take it in my sight.
Do not call this fate.
Do not call this war.
Call it what it was.
Second at the door,
Where one man moves,
then one man drove.
in all the terror he had never truly bound.
Look at me,
Look fulfilled.
a living oath that turned to nails.
Move.
That's what I should have done.
Now I carry his death like a loaded gun.
Flame smoke,
Name in the wire.
I left my brother to the mouth of fire.
No excuse, no lie, no holy cover.
He died in the gap between fear and another.
The man I left in fire.
He burns in every mission now.
The man I left in fire.
He is the reason I can't kneel or bow.
I lost the right.
To dream of glory,
I lost the myth.
of being brave.
Now every life.
I pull from ruin, answers what I did not save.
The man I left in fire.
I hear him in the alarms at night. And if I ever become a hero, it will be because I never again abandoned the living to my fate. So write it plain across my chest. He went in with me, he came out last.
No metal can unmake that. No prayer can cool that flame.
I was forged by many horrors, but this one learned my
Name. 光の壁開いてた海のとどにてまた実りて届かない祈りの花祈りてこの金心に激しみに来ても瞳の中でに言葉にても祈りの祈りでどの祈りで祈りの祈りのAnd all the city turned its face to flame. I had no life left waiting behind me, so I walked forward when the red light called my name. Stood like a cathedral burning, window by window devoured from within. Smoke climbed upward like a black confession, and every second fed the beast again. The street was full of shattered voices, hands to mouths and children wrapped in ash. But in the middle of that living nightmare, something in me finally settled into task. No dream remained, no private future, no softer world was asking me to stay. So all I had became a single answer: go where the fire is, bring what you can away. I had trained for this in blood and silence, in grief and ruin, in the breaking of the will. Now every wound I carried turned into something useful, something still. True hero, not born in light but in the flame. True hero, a man with nothing left but his name. I walked through the burning where the air itself was war, and one by one I carried the living back through the collapsing door. Hero, not glory, not legend, not pride, just the choice to keep on moving while the fire tried to make me die. hell groaned like a wounded animal. Steel screamed under the weight above. I found the first in a room gone breathless, curled in the dark where the floor gave up. I took him down through sparks and plaster, felt the heat bite through the mask, then turned around before my lungs were ready, because another cry had risen through the blast. A mother trapped behind a fallen beam, a boy with blood and soot across his face, an old man choking in a hall of embers, a girl still praying in a blackened place. I do not know what kept my body moving, only that the dead had followed me enough. And if I had one sacred thing remaining, it was this: to stand where terror said no one was strong enough. So every life against my shoulder felt heavier than fear, and every step back through the furnace made the purpose clear. True hero. Now the fire knew my shape. True hero. And still it could not make me break. I gave my breath to the smoke, my strength to the unbearable heat, and one by one I brought them from the dark back to the open street. True hero. No crown, no holy sign of love, only the will to keep on carrying what the flames had not yet taken from love. There was a moment at the heart of it all, when the ceiling cracked and the whole world leaned. I thought, so this is where my story closes. Not in regret, not in shame, but in the place I was made to be seen. And strangely, there was peace in it. Not peace without terror, peace inside it. Because a life can be so broken, it stops belonging to itself. And then 1 hour arrives that gathers all the ruins into meaning. Flame, smoke, glass in the light, carry the living back out of the night. Fall, rise, ash in the loft. Still there are names that must not go unsung. Heat, steel, world coming down. Still I kept moving through the burning crowd. Take what is left, give it all here. This is the hour that makes the hero clear. True hero. I came back through the mouth of fire. True hero. Dragging the living from the funeral pyre. Barely breathing, half in smoke, half in miracle and pain. I laid them one by one in the hands of light and rose to my feet again. True hero. Now let the broken city sing, that a man with almost nothing can still become everything. True hero. And if I fall after this night, then let it be written in flame and gold. He walked into death and carried out love. When I returned, my body was ash and shaking, but the dawn had already begun. Faces I saved were crying in the cold air, and for one sacred moment, the world was no longer crueler than the sun. I had no kingdom, no heaven opened, no past undone, only this: the fire had taken almost everything from me, and still I came back with everyone. That is enough, that is glory, that is the name I was willing to burn for. irreversible moment, the world remembered how to sing. Lifted my name from the smoke like a banner, carried it high through the ash and the rain. Faces once blurred by the terror of fire now turned toward me with gratitude and flame. Children were crying, but no longer from dying. Hands reached trembling, but this time for mine. And all of the ruin that had filled up my lifetime stood still in the gold of that one sacred light. I had gone in with nothing but purpose, no dream left to save, no soft place to return. Yet I came back through the mouth of destruction, with living hearts wrestled away from the burn. And suddenly all of the years behind me, the hunger, the beatings, the schoolyard disgrace, seemed to bow for a second in silence before the unbearable grace on each face. This was not heaven, not innocence restored, just the impossible beauty of not being ignored. For once the world did not look through me, for once it called me by my worth. For once the life I nearly buried stood like fire above the earth. Glory time, the hour the broken stood in gold. Glory time, the flame that did not kill but told. The whole sky who I was, the whole city what I'd done. I walked through death with empty hands and came back carrying everyone. Glory time, no crown was ever cut so bright as that one living second, when the world looked at me and saw light. Streets became a river of voices, calling my name like a hymn in the cold. And every stare that once would have judged me now held a wonder too heavy to hold. Even the wind seemed changed in that hour, sweeter somehow as it moved through the gray, as if the earth itself had decided that one man's pain had not been all for waste. I saw my reflection in shattered glass windows, burned at the edges, exhausted, undone. But wrapped in that moment I looked almost holy, like all I had suffered had gathered to one. Not for the fame, not for the cheering, not for the weight of the eyes raised above, but for the proof that a ruined existence could still become shelter, still become love. And oh, how the soul can open when the night at last gives way, when even grief steps backward and makes room for one bright day. I had been nameless in so many sorrows, buried alive in so many old lies. Now every wound was singing in the unbearable blue of the sky. Glory time, the hour the broken stood in gold. Glory time, the flame that did not kill but told. meaning in rooms that only answered pain. I had carried shame like scripture, carried terror like a chain. And now for one immortal heartbeat, everything the dark denied stood a light before me, shining white. Not because suffering is holy, not because pain deserves a throne, but because sometimes after all the ruin, a soul returns with more than bones. A soul returns with proof that what was almost lost can save, that what was nearly buried breathing can still rise beautiful and bright. Rise, rise, let the whole world know. Out of the fire, out of the smoke, gold, gold on the ash and scar. This is the hour that reveals what you are. Stand, shine, after all that pain, he carried the living back out of the flame. Sing, sing, let the ruin be named. For one impossible moment, the broken became a flame. Glory time, now let the heavens open wide. Glory time, glory time, now let the vanished stand in light. All the nights behind me, all the wounds, all the wars led me to this burning second where I was less and something more. Glory time, let the city ring with fire and grace, because after all the darkness I stood alive in the center of praise. Glory time, and if this is the brightest I will ever be, then let the whole world remember how beautiful a scar can look when it learns to carry mercy. Years in smoke and sirens, 40 years in borrowed flame, and now the night sits down beside me, knowing every name. My hands are quieter than they once were. No more doors to break, no stairs to climb, no more children pulled from burning windows, no more red lights tearing through the night. The world moved on the way worlds always do. It kept the lives, but not the man who stayed. And now I sit with all the years behind me, like folded uniforms of dust and grace. There is no crowd, no hymn, no marble, no shining monument to what I gave. Only the old scars breathing in the silence, only the bones that weather could not break. And yet when I look back through all that ruin, through every hour, my soul was asked to bend. I do not find a single wish to turn from the road that made my life an offering. Because I know what I came from, I know the house, the fear, the stain. And if I had not given all I carried, something worse than sorrow might have worn my name. Better forgotten than a monster, better silence than becoming what I fled. Better to vanish from the mouths of men than let the old darkness rise instead. I I gave my youth, my love, my future to keep some fragile stranger safe from flame. And if the world no longer speaks about me, I still would choose exactly the same. I have no wife waiting in the doorway, no child asleep beneath my weathered hands, no soft voice left to call me back from evening, no living witness who remembers who I am. The years took all the ordinary mercies, left me a room, a chair, a window, and my breath. But in that room there is no taste of failure, only the ache of having outlived usefulness. I think of all the faces I once carried, faces that time has long since turned away. Some are old now, some are gone completely, some never knew the name of who remained. That is enough, it has to be enough to know they walked on mornings I preserved. Not every life is meant to keep its glory. Some lives are meant to spend themselves on worth. And though the night has taken everyone, though I am left with almost nothing now, than stand before the mirror as what I could have been. Better forgotten than a monster, better old and empty than unmade by hate. Better to fade with mercy in my bloodstream than let my pain become another fate. I gave my years, my strength, my softness to keep the fire from somebody else's door. And if no hand remains to hold my ending, I do not ask the world for more. I came from a place that could have bred a beast, a house where love was hunger, where fear was daily speech. I know what might have risen if I had chosen wrath. I know the kind of man that waits beneath that path. But I did not feed him, I did not let him reign. I poured my life into the breach again, again, again. So let history lose me, let memory grow thin. I would rather be ash in honest silence than a crowned and living sin. Better forgotten than a monster, let that be the scripture on my grave. That a man can come from buried terror and still become the one who saves. Not because life loved him, not because it spared him, not because the ending turned out kind, but because somewhere in the ruins he chose to leave the beast behind. Better forgotten than a monster, better broken than untrue. And when the last of me goes quiet, let it say, I did what I could do. So here I am, alone, unneeded, an old fire cooling in the dark. And still I do not curse the road behind me, and still I do not mourn the missing parts, because I have seen what monsters cost. And I have seen what mercy can become. If I must leave this world forgotten, then let me leave it knowing 遠い届けとなの木を誰とも心の友の花に誰の言葉いつも言って瞳残して一人ののか奇跡のって誰とも心の友届かない見えるのでといつもりだまにいつもいといつも